أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. صدق الله العظيم.
UMT Talks is driven by the vision of UMT, and that is learning. So this is a learning institution. Why not we can start our learning process from within our home? We are UMT family members, and we believe as HR that we are responsible to develop, to make every single individual grow and prosper in their career opportunities across the globe. Why not? We have a lot of talent, to be honest with you. And I think and I strongly believe that the talent we are acquiring from the market, we are polishing them, we are developing them further to be the leaders, the future leaders of UMT. This initiative is the first step towards that. This initiative would open the horizons for our learning process from within ourselves. Because learning process starts from our own within the individuals. Little bit about the UMT Talks mechanism and the processes and what opportunity this is, I would like to enlighten you on. This platform gives you an opportunity to come over and speak. Speak about the ideas, speak about the learning, experiential learning you had in your life which inspired you and changed your life. But there is a small twist in that. Anybody can talk. What do you think? Anybody can talk. But this forum will make you an inspirational speaker. So there is a difference between an inspirational talk and simple talk. This platform will give you an edge to come over, to speak, to deliver, and to share with us what you have learned throughout your life. Doesn't matter if you are an officer level career, you are a manager level career, you are a dean, the respected dean of our school, or the HOD of our school. This is the platform if you want our people learn, so we can make them happen together. We can make it possible together. And this is basically the initiative of HR to develop our employees from within. And you will be the audience, you will be the host, you will be the speaker for us, and we will make it happen together. And we'll make a difference, we'll create the value, and we'll change the culture of the organization towards the vision of the UMT, and that is learning. Thank you very much once again, my all respected audience.
The snooze is gone. Rector 10.0 is on. IR 4.0 is where from? New reality emerges, new landscape converges, the globe outrages. Oh, VUCA has arrived. VUCA is here to scare. VUCA is new kid in town. The world is extended with no land. The space has become a cozy friend. Robots are doctors, engineers, teachers, and CEOs, controlling the destiny with genomes. Factories are running, aircrafts are flying, and the world is moving with no insight of humans, with flesh, blood, and bones. Game for master controls is on. The fight theater is drawn. The beaten track is gone. Zero-hour post-VUCA life. The reawakening first response is on fire. Intellect mining chases on pyre. Guilt for rescue fires up the heat. The phoenix is about to get a beat. The challenge is where to find the intellect minds, where to orchestrate the intellect not found. The resolve seems to be coming out of heliography. Robots come to rescue. Dial robot 1122. Finally, the intellect harvesting got activated and mining found new gold. The data with new neural networks was the forgotten gold. New maestros are with data to tune and orchestrate. The tango of survival to the divine tune of intellect harvesting and orchestration is the surviving year. And trust me on this, I can actually smell it, feel it, and touch it with human emoticons. Peace and blessings and morning everyone. This is me, Saira Iqbal Khan, from the Office of Career Services. And I consider myself more honored, than qualified, highest eminence and highest qualification. So please give a huge round of applause to your own self. We are so obliged, with your presence. All right, so, the topic is so sensitive and full of urgency. And for the same reason, I chose it, because in some capacity or in huge capacity, we have been hit by this new reality. But, just have a look in it. That topic is basically global trends affecting local entrepreneurs and enterprises, VUCA. But there's another fact that still many of us have not even heard of VUCA before. But, the surprising fact is that either we agree or disagree, all of us, including me in this room, are suffering from this VUCA scenario. And in my personal opinion, to survive and to lead in this new emerging reality in the presence of VUCA is the biggest challenge which humans have ever faced in their history of mankind. So, to help everyone connect with this topic, I would like to request all of you to consider everything for a while as what-if scenario. So, I'm going to throw quick questions to you, few scenarios to you, regardless of the gender, age, generations, because It's such a diverse audience, mashallah, and I see, the Generation X, baby boomers, Generation Z, millennials, all over sitting over here. So regardless of the gender and regardless of the age factor, I will through a few scenarios, and I request all of you, to be a part of this imagination activity. So guys, are you with me? Yes. Thank you. All right, so imagine if, the first situation, imagine if you are sleeping on the bed and you woke up early morning and you see your son sitting next to your sighty in a lot of exuberance, with a lot of passion to tell you something. And he says, Dad, I really wanted to tell you something, and I was thinking a lot to share the story with you, that actually, I am having certain emotions for someone. And I was feeling shy for so long, and finally I decided, there is no need to be shy out of it, right? So Dad, I really want to marry Siri, the female robot. Okay, scenario number 2. Imagine that you have planned a lot of gifts for your daughter's wedding, and you have filled a room filled of a lot of surprises, and one day you say, sweetheart, just come along with me, I want to show you something. This is what I have been planning you for so long. And when you opens up the door, your daughter says, Dad, I thought you knew me pretty well. I wasn't aware that, you will not understand until I tell you that I want you to gift me a robot on my marriage, because I really want to focus on my career instead of doing the household stuff, which a robot can do even more smartly than me. Situation 3, imagine, without any offenses, that tomorrow you get to know, you woke up and you get to know that there is no university anymore. And no educational institution is supposed to occur. And all is needed is just big few halls comprising of maybe 2 to 3 halls of virtual classrooms, whereby you are not gonna experience the students in physical shape and form. Rather, you have to learn new skills that how to interact with students through a digital platform. Imagine if you wake up and you got to know, that your job has been taken by a robot. And how you're going to react in this situation. By the way, meet Mr. Will. He's a digital teacher who has already emerged in this VUCA scenario and has been teaching and orienting the students a lot of physics concepts. Imagine if finally you're kicked off the job and you go home and you really realize that you really need to realign your mental networks, you really need to learn new skills, and finally, after a lot of preparation and skill development, you go and apply for the job and you find a robot sitting next to you. I mean, seriously, applying for the job. Imagine if the workplace is like that, you're surrounded with a lot of robots, and you have to interact and empathize with them and to work along in a team exactly the same way you used to interact and empathize with your human colleagues in the past. Imagine if your future workplace looks like this. Just imagine. Imagine if you are undergoing a serious research thing for your PhD dissertation, and for that you really need to conduct insightful interviews of the chief executive officers, and you book an appointment, and you see a robot sitting instead of a CEO, and you going there and conducting an interview with a robot CEO. Just imagine. And interestingly, just imagine, if the planet Earth starts looking like this, no wonder it will. So how? Oh, by the way, my whole imaginative scenario is over now. Now we are coming back to the reality, or the present, in which we're in denial mode. So surprisingly, and the scary thing is that most of the examples I quoted over here are those which are already happening in some shape and form in some part of the world, right? And this is really, an awakening point of view, an awakening era for all of us. Because, sorry to say, this is our national outlook, as a Pakistani, that we think that, all right, I know this all is happening in the world, but it will take at least 10 or 20 or 30 years, to get into Pakistan or to hit Pakistan's economy. But the point of view we really need to understand and to come out of your denial mode is that it's not that you are standing here, this is present and future, you will visualize and it's going to come. Welcome, the future is now. This is future in which we are living in. So when we know that we are hit with this kind of extreme uncertainty, whereby majority has a tendency to keep walking and moving, on the beaten tracks and ensuring that footprints are still there to follow. Whereby beaten tracks are telling by themselves, that beaten tracks have already been overbeaten, man. Even they need to find new methods, new ways, new coordinates to channelize the energies and to find the direction. And even the direction we are heading in today has no end. So if we don't accept this reality and we don't align ourselves and realign ourselves and evolve, then we will find ourselves exactly like a person standing in the middle of a desert with no essential resources for survival. So we need to actually be very cautious, precautious, and very, very aggressive to take very difficult and faster decisions in difficult situations. Why? Because the times we are living in are the times where the change is ever greater. We are in a VUCA fun fair, by the way. If you see, this is basically a VUCA fun fair, whereby chaos is everywhere. And when chaos is prevailing, nothing could be planned. So just imagine for a situation that I am told that may we be in the safe hands of Allah, inshallah, that Rector 10.0 is going to hit. And instead of, finding the ways for security or for survival, I say, all right, Rector 10.0 is going to come. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to, close my ears. And I want to better keep myself remain in this position for maybe say next year, 2 years, 3 years. So if you even have been fortunate enough to survive when the Rector 10.0 has hit you, after 3 years, when you will open your eyes, the landscape will be absolutely jolted. The playing field will be absolutely different. Why? Because VUCA is here to stay. And instead of getting scared or frightened up of this, we really need to find possibilities and consider it as an opportunity as a way forward. All right, so the word is changing, word is VUCA. So quite academic perspective on this, that from where this term was actually coined. This term was first coined by US War Academy in 1990s, whereby they referred this situation to extremely and very multilateral situation after the Cold War, and they called it VUCA. This acronym means V is for basically volatility, volatile. U is for uncertainty. C is for complexity, and A is for ambiguity. So quickly coming to this, volatility factor. Volatility is basically, the accelerating rate of change in the 4 dimensions possible. That is time, speed, volume, scale. Uncertainty, because of, because of the volatility, we are unable to predict the future events. And because there is widespread confusion, so there is multiple meanings towards the interconnectedness of cause and effect. And finally, ambiguity. Because of lack of precision, we are hit with a lot of potential mysteries for the future. So, keeping this entire scenario in mind, I hope you're connecting with this topic. Keeping this entire scenario in mind, one really has to evaluate, with an aware mindset of what kind of things or what kind of decisions he or she has to take in difficult situations vis-a-vis this matrix. And what kind of knowledge base of the current situation one has, the one is prevailing in. That is really important over these 4 dimensions. So the good news is that VUCA is the new normal. So all of us, don't need to be afraid of it. Rather, we need to gear up ourselves to welcome the new challenges of this new era. Why? Because, sorry to say, including me, I could be the next one, So the question arises, are we ready for this? All right, so I will quickly, run down a few things over here. Aftershocks of VUCA. And according to a VUCA report by Strategic Agility Institute, they have categorized the disruptive trends of the VUCA in 5 different categories. The first one is technological advancement. Well, we know that technology is actually even changing the nature of change. It is such a huge disruptor and unpredictable factor, and it has really revolutionized itself and has impacted our lives in ways which we have not even imagined in the last 10 years. So, a few examples over here. Starting from or ranging from, artificial intelligence, IoT, machine learning, big data, predictive analysis, data science, technologies emerging like wearable technologies, automation, 3D printing, reverse 3D printing, organ transplantation. Then there is global brain, so something really interesting. And in future, people will be able to resonate with each other through sent messages. This is pretty impressive. Then there are driverless cars, and I'm really fascinated and looking forward towards commercial space travel because I really want to have experience of it. And a lot of other examples like DNA self-service thing. All right, and not to forget blockchain technology. So we all have been listening all of these jargons and buzzwords last many years, but the challenge lies on us, that how are we going to sense, the implications of these future disruptions or the present disruptive ideas on our businesses. Why? Because no doubt about it, the advent of social media, has really created a lot of positive and negatives as well. LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, Twitter, we have emerged as more kind of what you call as hyper-connected world. So the problem is that it has really impacted the way we collaborate, the way we work, and the way we communicate with each other. All right, the next category is economic and financial issues. Ranging from economic cycle and global financial turmoil, affecting the what you call as stock markets. And according to a professor from Yale, in 1985 actually, S&P companies survived on an index for an average 65 years. By 1980, the figure declined to just 25 years. And by 2011, the figure further dropped to just 18 years. Why? Because of VUCA, because of the unpredictability factor about which organizations were not preparing themselves. And finally, they really declined themselves in terms of brand value, and they were either acquired by the other groups, other organizations, or they were hit by the bankruptcy. And organizations like Kodak is an example which demonstrated how things quickly can change. And there are other factors like increase in interest rates. There is inflation going on. There is potential for alternative currencies like bitcoins, name a few. The next category is basically environmental and societal concerns. Who doesn't know about it? ranging from climate change to urbanization to CSR, where organizations now are thinking and rethinking and considering the ways that how their businesses can be more responsible and how they can show more corporate conscience. So organizations are more heading towards the sustainability factor as well, that how to reduce the negative possible impact of humans on the environment. All right, the next category is geopolitics, regulations, and security issues. Who doesn't know about cybersecurity, terrorism, and personal security, personal privacy concerns, then, factors like the interventions of, and what is the disruption caused by the government on the businesses. They're suffering like anything. And the final category of the disruptive trends is workforce dynamics. And here I need your attention because according to the VUCA report by the Strategic Agility Group, they identified 35 major disruptors. And out of those 35 major disruptors, the 5 out of top 10 were lying in the category of workforce dynamics. And the factors which have been reported in this VUCA report in category of workforce dynamics was, HR can definitely relate to it even more in detail, that there is a lot of shift in terms of hiring and compensation practices. And organizations, they really need to think that how to keep this 5G workforce intact and how to capture their hearts. Now, organizations are looking for more accelerated promotions, and redefined compensation packages. Then there are a lot of, difference has been identified in terms of expectations of different generations working at the workplace in terms of their work life and non-work life balance, and also in terms of their work styles. All right, so, and now actually, organizations are also shifting, to assess diverse and higher talent among new geographies. So, just a quick evolution of the employee. Loads of audience today, maybe I'm not, in fact, because I think all our young people sitting over here, that may be from baby boomers or Generation X category, or maybe loads of them are from millennials, Generation Y, Generation Zero, and Alpha category. So there has been a paradigm shift which has been observed. Generation X, the generation of the past, they are citizens. And they are more comfortable and habitual of a physical war theater called VUCA. Whereby, these future leaders, these millennials in Generation Z, for them, the war theater of VUCA is more digital. They are netizens. And their work styles, their expectations in terms of promotions, in terms of compensation, in terms of career prospects, in terms of, a very compelling vision of the organization is absolutely different. These guys don't want to work, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and they say, what the heck is this? Why should we stay? I can operate from home. There is no need to come and be a part of a physical office whereby, I don't have the liberty or freedom to be at my own. I don't want to wear this formal dressing. I want to be my own self. I can operate from home by utilizing the fruits of gig economy, whereby you can operate from your home. They can be their own leaders, actually. They create their own leaders, and they're very independent in their mind. So the challenge lies that the old generation has really has to work, from old paradigm shift to new paradigm shift. All right, now quickly running on a few more challenges of VUCA because this is one thing which we really can't ignore. Paradigm shift in a context that, we are, living in a world which is extremely less predictive, right? Everything is interconnected and anything can happen. So unfortunately or fortunately, our brain, it is more designed to, use the data from past, process it, and predict the future. Why? Because we have been, raised in a context where we have been identifying the strategies, to mitigate the risk. We were more kind of risk averse. So resultantly what happened? The problem arose, whereby now to survive in a VUCA, we really have to focus, please pay attention to this, we really have to focus on what is possible rather than what is probable. Why? Because no doubt this evolutionary system has really helped us out, to thrive in the past, but what has actually resulted in it, it has limited us. So we keep on identifying what is likely to occur instead of perceiving, anything can happen, bro, right? So this is a paradigm shift, and trust me, this is not easy. It's not as easy as saying, because researchers, show and represent that how difficult it is for the human brain, because human brain does not get pleased, when you think in any way, right? All right, the number 2 is cold comfort of silos. Today's in hyper-connected world, leaders and top leadership is actually striving hard to promote collaboration among their divisions within the organization. Why? Because a lot of product lines and divisions largely operate in silo, and resultantly they miss on, the synergistic effect across divisions. So it's not that organizations only have to think, or leaders have to think how to promote collaboration within the organization, but also across the organizations. Because businesses do not operate in a vacuum. We are connected with customers, we are connected with suppliers, we are connected with government, and we are connected with society at large. So this complex web of stakeholders demand a lot of interconnectivity and a lot of collaboration. An example of this is, that a lot of countries who lie in the category of factor-driven economies, they have been focusing on the concept of closed innovation, whereby they really focus on, restricting the innovation in the headquarters. Whereby idea-driven economies, they are really promoting open innovation. And now they're promoting the culture of even developing and establishing R&D centers across the globe. A lot of organizations have also shifted from traditional bureaucracy to matrix structure organization. And I'm so blessed to be a part of OCS because, we are actually experiencing, the fruits of matrix structure organization. The deluge of data, a drought of insight. So, as a byproduct or as an outcome of interconnectivity is that we all have become recipients of huge amount of data. Either from, the LinkedIn or the Facebook updates or Bloomberg, but we are receiving a lot of information. But it has created 2 kinds of challenges. Number 1, very simple. We are receiving a lot of data because of pervasive sharing, right? So what is happening that if today any organization says, see, I have the data and I have a competitive advantage over you, then trust me on this, there is no much stupid or foolish organization than it could be. Why? Because, because of interconnectivity, the personal information becomes public, right? And mostly it is being done on no financial cost. Number 2, the challenge is not that, or the advantage is not that you have data. The challenge is that how to transform the deluge of data into actionable insights. That is the real challenge. And why? Because, the data which we're receiving, we don't have any authenticity. We don't know it's valid or not. So it's more important that how to use the data and transform into more actionable insights, right? So the quality or the capability of judgment needs to be developed or established as a necessary differentiator, right? And of course, the customer evolution. The customer has become more aware, and then, the organization. Today I go in and say that I want to purchase this bag, and, the guy tells me an extreme amount of money, and then I say, excuse me, see, I have, another application on my smartphone, or I have observed, I am finding the same bag even in less price. So the challenge is that, do you providing the decision-making power at the most junior level possible position within the organization or not? So now if you're from VUCA, we all have to emerge as VUCA managers. Global perspective quickly that what are the big brands, multi-billion brand evaluation brands are doing in the world? What kind of strategies they're actually inventing or proposing. First of all, define your core business definition. So today, to stay relevant in the future, you have to keep asking yourself what kind of business we are, and are whatever we're doing, is it satisfactory? Even if it is satisfactory, then can I become obsolete in the future? Maybe I'm missing out something. So really have to redefine. And one of the most beautiful example in this scenario is of basically Amazon. You know, it has really, after a long time, break the long-lasting standing of Apple and Google on, on global brand Z evaluation ranking, whereby it has emerged and evolved as world most desirable and #1 brand in the world. So why? Because Amazon reinvented itself. Amazon reinvented its core business definition. And from an online price-led retailer, it has emerged as a brand ecosystem whereby it successfully and beautifully connected the values and positive brand perceptions. It has been diversifying itself across multiple ranges, from cloud computing to mobile applications, and being #1 in the entertainment. So as the boundaries between the traditional organization blur, Amazon has been able to emerge and position itself to capture the possible opportunities. Whereby if you see, Apple grew hardly 3%, Google hardly 2%, Microsoft is a #4 with 25% increase in its brand valuation. Facebook is -2. Alibaba is a #7 with 16. So it's not only they redefined their core business definition, they also redefined the convenience factor. Again, an example of Amazon versus 7-Eleven. I hope you have heard its name. So 7-Eleven, Amazon declared that if you order any product via Amazon, you will get it delivered within 2 hours. So a new war created. Then 7-Eleven thought that what we have to do, So they said, all right, if Amazon is gonna restrict it to 2 hours, or to bring it to 2 hours, we're gonna take it to 30 minutes. Right? And not only this, they additionally intensified the convenience factor for employees, for customers. They have also come out, with click and pick option, whereby you can order anything, you can pay online, and then you go and collect it from 7-Eleven store. Similarly, they have also transformed their convenience stores, to what you call as points, whereby you can find your package being delivered and you can pick it up. And they're also working on more payment options and convenience, creating convenience for their customers. All right, shaping the culture around vision, mission, and values. And here I want the top leadership paying a lot of attention. And this is my humble request, because this is what best organizations are doing in the world. They are shaping the culture around vision, mission, and values. And they are doing everything possible to ensure that it is being embedded in the DNA of their employees, their internal customers. Because if the internal customers are not even aware of their vision, mission, values, then in what direction they're heading towards. It means that they're working in silos. And those synergistic effects can be identified in which organization can capitalize. One example is of Google. Google has really converted its vision of providing information to the world into a verb, for the rest of the world. Now we use Googling, Googling, Googling. What does it mean? It was basically the vision of Google, And if you go in on internet and you find the meaning of Google, it has such a beautiful demonstration. They say that Googling means, or Google means, to search about some information or object or picture using the search engine of Google. So, the limit which they created over here, that you have to use the search engine of Google. So they said that people stop using Googling terminology if you are searching information on the web and you're not using Google search engine. So this is how beautifully they have converted their vision and transformed into a verb for the rest of the world. Aligning organizational structure, again, once the vision, mission, values are being settled down, it's again the role and the obligation of the top management to ensure that there's a perfect alignment throughout the structures and procedures going on within the organization. Why? Because according to Joe DePinto, the CEO of 7-Eleven, he says that my bigger responsibility is, is to set the culture, set the culture of the organization, right tone of the organization, demonstrate, the right things and how we do the things, and then, bringing in the folks, the right folks, the smart folks, who are supposed to be empowered by the top leadership, to go along and, to groom and, learn more and more and grow, and also grow the organizations in return. And then what I need like-minded managers, I need like-minded innovators, I need like-minded directors, a broader leadership tier to inculcate and to cascade the same vision, values, mission into the entire operating system of the organization. Next is vitamin E. Here, all of you will connect with me because we all are vitamin E for UMT, man. Vitamin E is the employee. It is the most important asset, which any organization could have. And interestingly, there is a very famous film writer and a producer called Anthony Greco. And he says, because there is a fearing factor as well, that by 2025, 75% of the workforce will be replaced by millennials, right? So Anthony Greco says that nowadays, everyone wants to be the main hero in their scene, right? Every one of us needs to be or wants to be or to emerge as, the real hero in the main scene. Not in the story, in the main scene. So organization is like a story, and millennials and everyone as the employee, as the vitamin E wants to emerge as a more main character. So, you need that crew to help you out to sail through the choppy waters of VUCA, and for that, organizations really need to work, on the capability and capacity building of humans. Establishing learning organization where organizations really need to, promote the culture of innovation, creativity, experimentation. Elon Musk from Tesla is one such example. He, he launched the concept of magic carpet, and he has spent $40 million in that, and he has failed. So there's no news about that, but still he's investing and is promoting the culture of learning organization. Invest in your people. Some key critical statistics. Business in the US spent $150 billion in employee learning, and research says that 90% of its impact disappears within a year. Why? Because companies consider training as a cost, not as an investment. And minimum threshold is 40 hours per employee per year, whereby the billion-dollar organizations, they're investing 100, or even more hours per employee per year. There needs to be a lot of work done on leader development, and we really need to have harmonious and long-term relationships, either just with our customers, suppliers, or our manufacturers. We need to have a very holistic approach, and holistic approach also includes redefining your core business definition. Competition versus competition. Apple and Samsung is one such example. They are customer, supplier, and competitors at the same hand. Showcase heroes and not just villains. Whosoever is creating value addition within the organization needs to be showcased through different social media platforms. So, do you understand? Do you really need to question of this presentation? Do you really understand the business you are in? And what kind of strategies you are actually adapting to quickly respond to the, future? So, basically, you need to develop your VUCA report. To be successful in this VUCA world, question yourself, do you people really understand the business you're in? And are they intrinsically motivated or passionate to go for a kill? So what other educational institutions are doing, because we are an educational institution, they are working on these essential soft skills development so that the product which they're producing, during their academic journey, is career-ready graduates. They are working more in skill development because the dynamics of the job market have been changed, and now industry is looking more towards skill development, more certifications instead of what you call as knowledge. And for that, they are bringing experts from the industry, they are bringing them on board, and they are trying to reduce gap between skills and demand and skills and supply by bringing them in the curriculum designing of the students. So one more important thing is intellect mining and orchestration, and I hope you enjoyed at the beginning. The concept was this theme that how you're going to promote idea generation and multidisciplinary collaboration, because mashallah, UMT is a general university in all of disciplines that we have. So these all things head towards entrepreneurship. So organizations, and particularly educational institutions, they are promoting the culture of entrepreneurship, because they want to convert, the final year projects of their students into full-time products, the business to which they can monetize and commercialize in future. They're also working on word cafe concept. What is it? I will tell you later. So new normal in higher education is that all of us, particularly the top leadership in any educational institution, has to emerge as an educational innovator, which is more a kind of edupreneur, meaning the person who is extremely agile, innovative, creative, knows how to do the intellect mining and orchestrate it, and how to gain competitive advantage over other educational institutes. So because we're running short of time, so I can share this thing with you if somebody will be interested, that how the desired state has resulted by comparing the driving forces and retraining forces, and some other forces have changed. I will only pay attention to the first one because of shortage of time, image and market position. Excuse me. All right, so external forces, it means that as UMT, we really need to rethink and identify that how our brand is being evaluated in the market, versus alignment with internal factors, that how actually we perceive the brand attributes of our brand, and what kind of communication channels or what kind of messages about our UMT brand we are throwing into the market. We can take a quick example of one of our competitors, say, Superior University. Like, Superior has defined itself Pakistan's only entrepreneurial university, right? So they have classified themselves as entrepreneurial university. And whatever initiatives or whatever thing they're taking, the end game, the end game is basically by producing an entrepreneurial university, they're actually looking towards the end game of inculcating entrepreneurial ecosystem in Pakistan, right? So there is a kind of harmony between the brand perception they have and the things they are doing to achieve the end. There are initiatives like incubators, accelerators, there are initiatives like Idea Karodon Ka, they are promoting this culture. But UMT is, mashallah, blessed to be, a general university, mashallah, mashallah. And we are so blessed, that we have all disciplines being taught over here. So now what is the end game? Why we have classified it UMT as a general university? You really need to think about it. What is the end game? Like Superior has defined itself. So to my understanding, if we conceive this idea, general university, it means that we have all the disciplines. So basically, we are also promoting multidisciplinary collaboration and a research of consequence and idea generation, which can be converted into interventions for the future. So if we follow all of these strategies, we can definitely winning it in a VUCA word. Last and final. So we had identified in the beginning these four factors of this acronym VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So now we really need to start working, on replacing volatility with vision, uncertainty with understanding, complexity with clarity, and ambiguity with alignment. And in summary, after that I have a couple of two videos which I would like to show you. In summary, it's a negative VUCA word if you let it be. And that's the ball that is in your court, because leaders nowadays are doing everything possible to have vision, understanding, clarity, and alignment, and this can be best achieved through intellect mining and orchestration. So we will quickly, like to request Ms. Maria to play, a short video that, what could be the possible resolution and obstacles or hindrances to agility, which is really much required in today's VUCA world.
सकालत से पूछो मुझे अलाउ नहीं है कहना सकालत से बोलो कि कमर ये कह रही है और उसके बाद ICDF की 10 मिनट की वीडियो क्या करना है ये कितने मिनट ये कितने मिनट की ये तो बस ख़त्म होने वाली है सकालत से पूछो After run?
All right, so I had, you got the, very meaningful message out of it, that the way to VUCA is basically agility, and otherwise you're going to succumb the inside. All right, one thing, and then I'm done, because whatever I discussed today is that we have also been, as career services lead development operations, I have been along, with my team and under the guidance of my intellect, minor in our castrator, respectable Khalid Nakisa. We have been really working on collecting the data points and striving to come up with an intervention which can be a possible result and which has a lot of potential because it is a national initiative. So we came out with the Innovation Capital Development Forum, a think tank, which should be the main focus and which should be the real concern of the academia, whereby we have brought in all the stakeholders, government, industry, incubators, students, faculty, the key decision makers on one platform, and whereby we identify the missing links in national policies and we run focus group discussions. So again, I would like to request Ms. Maria to play that what thought was behind and how we came up with this think tank initiative as a resolve to VUCA.
As an ordinary citizen of Pakistan, when I watch media and read some fascinating articles talking about the great times we are having and the excellent future we have with exponential growth rates, I feel ecstatic. Oh wow! I start falling in love with myself and I become so grateful to the drivers and managers of the economy that I always mark my ballot. Oh what? Zapping gave me new facts and untold stories. Thanks to the invention of remote control for a lazy lady like myself, when I changed the channel, the dirty truth emerges. And what? I almost hit the roof with fear and anger. I learned that the vital statistics of Pakistan was the international word, our globally competitiveness index, GCI. 126 out of 134, knowledge economy index, KEI. 112 out of 133, and global happiness index, GHI. 92 out of 134. Oh man! I tried to understand the countries below us, and to my shocking surprise, I found out that they're all alien names to me. Maybe they're somewhere in Mars. The dirty truths are eye-openers. It gave me 360-degree swing, and I started sweating and shivering with fear. I realized that I was sleepwalking all this time like a zombie. Oh, I am very, very angry with myself. I asked myself, where do I stand today? Where am I heading to? What is in there for my next generation? Then I questioned myself, what am I doing for sweet and swift entry to the new realities? Then here comes the dirty truth revelation. I realize I am just a bystander, contributing nothing. I am just a consumer of whatever is offered to me and believe in whatever is told to me. And the real dark realization is that I am not a contributor. Oh my gosh. I am just a bystander? Then who's driving my life? Am I being driven safe? Is my driver qualified? And is there enough fuel in the tank? Is my journey safe? The darkest hour of my life. I was enchanted and mesmerized by the show which was going on all around me, in fact, in me and my next generations, while I was unaware as my brain was told every day that I'm in the best hands. I was so lost in the megalomania and delusion of grandeur and vanity that I was sucked in by few moons of glory from different platforms. To my shock now, I realized that it was just a static show, and my ultimate happiness was to tell the world that I have appeared in the media and have spoken to big crowds, were as directionless as anybody else, with very few subject to the degrees of my talk with magic for big countries, and I was ecstatic to be viewed as a rock star without any consequence for my nation. My only Oscar was the red carpet, which was offered to me. It was fantastically deceptive, having the appearance of an optical illusion, which again was folly and show and led me no leader. Yes, I was listening. It was a wake-up call, and I had to get out of my comfort zone as it was giving me false sense of pride. As a Pakistan, I have been listening since ages that we are progressing in old France. No! Oh my gosh! Now I had very little time left to emerge as a contributor out of the just bystander and consumer of whatever is offered to me, and waiting for some miracle to happen and take me to heaven. My utopia was old. Then what to do? So I need to take the responsibility on my shoulders to contribute wholeheartedly to the best of my abilities to create a blockchain of like-minded innovators and mythbusters to put Pakistan on the winning streak and get it out of international embarrassment. I need to put my best efforts to raise Pakistan's head above the headwinds so that we may not nosedive. This means stakes are higher. Pakistan has to emerge as a wellspring of ideas, to innovate and create spikes in the flat emerging world. Disruption has become the new norm. Right now, we are at a central point of raging tornado of change, fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. What science fiction is becoming science. This change is exponential in everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now online. These game changers are also combinatorial as they amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. If all is known to us through international studies, trends, and researches, what is yet to realize? The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times?
मुझे ना बता बहन सर खालिद मुझे पिछले 3-4 इवेंट से बहुत जलील कर चुके हुए हैं कि अगर आपको कोई कुछ कहता है आपने मुझे आगे बताना है एंड देन आई हैव टू टेक इट फॉरवर्ड को आप जाके कवल से बात करें
The entire educated fraternity with good understanding of emerging trends and challenges, with possible recommendations for groundbreaking solutions, need to work together through social inclusion to harness the talent and to make a big difference. The question may arise in your mind that why we should be a part of it? What is so special about it? No doubt, quantum computing will fuel big data, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence that will feed your products. And anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future because machines are very good at simulating but are not original thinkers. But the howl of change that humans represent needs changing mindsets and new ecosystems. Once business as usual was often good enough. No more. Going good enough is dead. There is only one space left, and that is to innovate. Ask yourself, are you generating and driving champions of innovation in your system? Here comes the signature sauce of Innovation Capital Development Forum, ICDF, a think tank whereby we engage like-minded aspiring innovators, not only because of their experiences they provide, but also because of their transformational powers to drive, inspire, and launch champions of innovation in our society to respond to new emerging factors of growth in the shape of innovation and idea economy to emerge as global champions. So what are you waiting for? Get up and join hands and make a big splash through this forum by challenging convention to transcend into the future. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking
वीडियो खत्म
clean
होने वाली है
to
ना, तो
make
वफा को इधर भेज दो, मैंने रोबोट स्टेज पे चढ़वाना है.
because once you get there, you can move mountains. You don't need a new year to make a change. All you need is today. We all are here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why else would we be here? So stand up as an innovation champion. Come, let's challenge convention and create a network of innovation engine and get back that stand from factor-driven to innovation-driven idea economy. So what are the next steps? Stand up as a champion of innovation.
आगे आगे मेरे पास कर दो.
All right, so this is all done from my side, and I was really privileged to be talking to this audience. And for any questions, you can refer to replacement of Ms. Tara Iqbal Khan. Well, very simple, and as I also have elaborated throughout my presentation, that the future is all about, interventions. The future is all about quickly adapting and creating new, solutions, new breakthrough solutions. And UMT is not that I'm just, enforcing and hammering it time and again. It's a general university. And this is a competitive advantage it has on all of the rest of the, academic institutions. So what is the way forward is that we have engineering school, we have business school, we have psychology, we have chemistry, we have IT, we have all disciplines. So what is being needed is that, which was basically the result of in the shape and form of ICDF, is that these disciplines have to come forward, they have to sit on the same table. They also have to include stakeholders, from experts from the industry, from the government, from the incubators, and also bring on board the smart minds of Generation Z and millennials. And they really have to think, what are the gaps? What are the things on which we can capitalize? What kind of research of consequence we can create, and what kind of interventions we can create, which can be further converted into IPs. And UMT will end up registering a lot of IPs like LAMS or other institutions. So we have all the right raw material over here. All we need is the right orchestration. So thank you.
My question relates to when you were doing the research, where do you think Pakistan is ranked in terms of globally? And what challenges as a country we face in order to have this philosophy integrated into our system? Thank you.
All right, so I have also explained this gap in the presentation as well. Right now, because we have been doing a lot of meta-analysis, we have been interacting with the industry in the last 3 to 4 years as part of career services. So we have been saying that there is a real disconnect, and this is, the argument which is being, I guess, discussed in thousands of forums up till now, that there is a very clear gap between, industry and academia, right? Academia is more focused on providing the old paradigm of providing only learning, while industry is demanding absolutely different thing, right? So there is, because why? Because both industry and academia, they have absolutely different focuses. And this gap has resulted in research of, sorry to say, no consequence, which has zero implication in industry, apart from a few exceptions. But this is the outcome that unfortunately is coming out of academia. And this is the awakening point, which really needs to be awakening academia, including me. It's not that only we have been targeting certain stakeholders, including all of us. So we have to really bring industry on board with us, sit with them, identify what kind of challenges they're facing, and then industry also has to come on board and provide endowment funds to conduct the research. And then then through the collaboration, they can come on the same page, and the research will be more of research of consequence, having a lot more implications in the industry than it has ever before. And this is what exactly OCS has done in the shape and form of ICDF Innovation Capital Development Forum. We are bringing all the stakeholders in one board. I hope it clarifies your question.
It is one of the finest topic or
Thank you.
और क्वेश्चन मेरे था कि आपने जो स्केच पेश किया था पहले उसके अंदर लास्ट में आपने इंजीनियर तोड़ दी और रोबोट्स हो गए उसका इसके साथ क्या आपने कंपैरिजन किया है किस तरीके से आप इसको वोका के साथ जो है ना कंपेयर करते हैं?
I can create the matching. Don't worry, I'm a matchmaker. So basically, the thought behind was that there was intellect mining and orchestration as the way forward to survive in this VUCA world. So what has happened? We have really restricted ourselves, and we have started relying on robotics. And we think that, all right, they're doing our work, we're pretty comfortable in our comfort zones. But, they're not aware that in the future, all jobs will be replaced by robots. And then human being will realize that this was a foolish mistake I made. This is where I limit myself, where this is the limit where I stopped thinking creatively, right? And then a real war theater will happen, real war theater between, then the frustration will be, I would love to see that frustration level coming from the humans, whereby, their jobs all being taken by the robots. So finally, humans have to realize, as the phoenix rises from the ashes, so also human beings have to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, and really have to start thinking that now we are not supposed to hit the pillow anymore. It's the time to wake up. It's trying to regain, the power which was taken or overtaken by us, by the robots. And this is where exactly human creativity will start applying itself in true spirit.
Departments who were involved to organize and arrange this session.
Thank you.
What I believe that it was a concept selling session, and concept selling is always a difficult task. It was a challenge for you also to deliver the message within this short span of time, and you did it very well. And I would like to encourage you, UMT, all departments to continue arranging and organizing such events for all the people who are available here to learn from you. Thank you so much.
I've known this session she basically planned it for one full day workshop exercise. It's a 5-day session which was reduced to 1 day, and then she had to convert it into 90 minutes, and then I forced her bring it down to 40 minutes because the momentum of concept selling is variable. Initially you have to move very slow, then you will pick up the speed, then you start hitting bang bang. So I think you have done very well despite of all those limitations. थोड़ा सा कई लोगों को drag feel इसलिए होता है कि concepts आप sell कर रही हो मैं नहीं सुनना चाहता, जो सुनना चाहते हैं उसके लिए है. So thank you very much, sir. It's a very good job.
Thank you.